Hey guys, for those of you that don't know Ted Thomas, let me go ahead and introduce him. Ted Thomas is the foremost expert when it comes to tax deed and tax lien investing. So, guys, this is the thing. For the next hour, Ted is going to be giving you some tips and techniques. If he can do this in an hour, imagine what he can do in 6 hours. Ted, why don't you go ahead and tell the audience a little bit about what you're going to be doing?
Okay, great. Well, first of all, good to be here and good to see you. Folks, I'm in the education business. I've been teaching tax liens and deeds for 30 years. What I've done is I've been able to answer a lot of questions for a lot of people. So here's what I'm going to talk about. I'm going to tell you about tax lien certificates. I'm going to show you how much money those tax lien certificates make. Then I'll show you people that are actually doing it. Then I'll show you people that bought tax liens and didn't get paid. Now you're getting the idea. So that's a full course just right there. Then I'm going to go from there and I'm going to tell you about tax defaulted property. Now that means someone failed to pay their taxes. They forfeited their property and the tax collector takes it and they resell it at auction. So I'm going to take you through that process. So you're going to go from A to Z, which would take you weeks. What I did is I condensed it. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to share it with you guys and you're going to have a whole hour. I'm going to give you a lot of transformational ideas that are really going to teach you how to make money immediately. Now, this is going to be a way you can grow financially and you can do it in a nice, secure environment. So how do I do this teaching? Well, I'm going to show you real life documented examples. Matter of fact, I'm going to show you some amazing real estate material, things that you've never seen before, but the potential here is to make big money. So if you want to make $5,000 or $10,000 a month, that's going to be relatively easy. We can go all the way up to making $25,000, $50,000, and those kind of numbers on one deal. Now, I do what I'm going to teach you to do today, okay? So I've been doing this I've been involved in it for about 30 years, but I've been teaching it for about 25 years. So I've helped dozens, really thousands of people over the years to do this. Now, you're going to be pretty amazed at the amount of wisdom and the amount of things that you're going to be able to do with this business. It's not me that created, this is a government created business. So if you're looking for a business that's proven, it's tested, and you want to make 25,000, 50,000, extra 100,000 this year, I'm going to show you how to do that. Now, I have lots of students that make those kinds of numbers. So at first you're going to say, wow, this sounds like a little bit too much. Well, it's not going to be too much because you're going to see, and I'll show you the secrets of how you get to make those kinds of profits. Now, how do I do all that? Well, I'm going to show you documented case histories as I go along. So I'm not just going to claim something. I'm going to show you student investors make 25,000, 50,000, even up to $100,000. And in many cases, they're going to get checks from the government. So this is the real deal. You can get started immediately. Once you learn how to do this, you can do it for the rest of your life. So during the next 55 minutes, you might want to make some notes. I'm going to do 3 things that are very special. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to show you the secrets of tax lien certificates. I'll show you exactly how to do it, and you'll learn how that. Then I'm going to also show you how to get discounts on properties of 60, 70, 80% discount and buy them without a mortgage. And then for those of you who are really going to get involved, I'm going to show you how to get these properties. And I'll show you actual examples of people who buy property for 10 cents, 20 cents, up to 35 cents on the dollar, but they're always buying with no mortgage. And that's what you're going to like. So let's roll right into the tax lien certificate part of it so you get that information first, okay? Now, we're going to isolate this. We're going to do tax lien certificates. Then I'm going to talk about tax defaulted property, and then I'm going to talk about how you can get in for real low prices, okay? So it's going to be a relatively simple program, and I'll follow the same formula all the way through. All right, now with tax lien certificates, you invest your money with the government, you're going to get a check back from the government. You can't give any money to me. I'm just a teacher and teach people how to do it. So you're going to invest with the government, you're going to get a check back from them. Now, what kind of rates can you earn on a tax certificate? Well, these are the maximum rates in a lot of states, 16%, 18%, 24%, all the way up to 36%. But the beauty of buying a tax certificate is when you buy that certificate, the mortgage has been wiped out. So now you have a safe and secure investment. Now, if you don't make any notes, every once in a while I'm going to say, write a note. And the note on this one is, these investments are going to be predictable, certain, and secure when you buy a tax certificate, okay? Now, you can't buy those certificates from Ted Thomas. I don't sell the certificates. They're sold directly from the government, okay? They're always sold at the county or the municipal level. I'm going to teach you about the county and municipal levels tonight as we go along. All right, so you can't buy them from me. So let's kind of look at what this whole situation is. So look at the graph that I put in front of you. On the left, I've depicted a house. Now, that could be a big, tall office building downtown. It could be a small building like a garage in your neighborhood. It could be a ranch. It could be a farm. It could be a dairy farm. It could be any one of those things. They're all real estate. And when it's real estate, you have to pay a real estate tax. All right, generally speaking, that tax is about 1%. It's not very high. It's about 1%. But that tax is owed to that, where it says government center, think of that as your local county or municipality. That's where that's owed. Now, if the government doesn't get paid, and there's thousands and thousands of cases where they don't get paid, when they don't get paid, they have to do something about collecting that money. So they either issue a tax lien certificate, which is nothing more than a piece of paper, just a small piece of paper. I'm just reaching over onto my desk. So it's a piece of paper like I'm waving at you right now. That's all it is, just one piece of paper like that. All right, they issue tax certificate. You can buy that and pay someone else's taxes. Now, I know you're saying, Ted, I don't want to pay anybody else's taxes. Well, of course you don't want to. But you don't, when you find out that if you buy this certificate, that you could earn 18% interest or 24% or 36%, then you might want to buy that certificate. So there's thousands of them available, and they're issued by the local government. Now, the other thing that the county could do is they could say, we're going to issue a tax deed. And what that means they do is they go out and they foreclose, they seize, they make the people forfeit the property to the government. So if you don't pay your taxes, you forfeit your property to the government. Now, I'll go through this a few times. Don't worry about if you don't get it all right away. All right, so what did you do? Well, what you basically did is you bought a tax lien certificate. Now, that's the first priority lien on the property. You see, it's the government's interest in the property is the taxes. Now, the government runs on taxes. Now, this system has been around. Everything I'll teach you tonight will be at least 200 years old. So all I did is study the statute, spent a couple of 2 years doing it, became an expert on it, and now I've been teaching it like you're going to learn it tonight. All right, so this tax lien certificate is the priority over a mortgage. And when you buy one, it's safe and secure. The security is the real estate. So let me review that with you. When you go to an auction, you raise your hand. You can do it online. I'll show you how to do that. Raise your hand, you buy that certificate. What you did is you invested directly with the local government. You invested there. Okay, now they're going to take your money. They're going to issue a tax certificate. It's secured by the real estate. So you don't have to worry about this investment because you're either going to get paid or you're going to get the property. So write that down. You're going to get paid or you're going to get the property. So folks, what I'm going to teach you is the safest, the most lucrative investment in America today. This has been around for 200 years. It hasn't changed in that 200 years. Safest, most lucrative investment in America today. Now, this is an exciting opportunity. Why? Because you can earn 16%, 18, 24, all the way up to 36% on a tax lien certificate. And the check comes from the government. So you invest with the government, you're going to get a check back from the government, and you're going to get these high interest rates. Now, think about money in the bank. Money in banks earning, let's say 1% today. Some places even less. All right, so 1%, yet you can buy a tax lien certificate, make 16, 18, 24, all the way up to 36%. Now, these rates are guaranteed. Read those words on there. Guaranteed, not by Ted Thomas. They're guaranteed by the local government. All right, now some people, they make money every time. The reason they make money every time is they're buying tax lien certificates. That's what they do. They invest in tax lien certificates. Now, there's thousands of these certificates available. Now, I'm talking to you today. I'm in a small studio in the back of my office, and I'm in Merritt Island, Florida. These tax lien certificates are sold in half of the states in the United States. Half of the states will sell these certificates, and when you buy the certificate, you have a secure investment. So why don't you write that down? You're going to get high interest rates, secure investment, okay? So it's the law that when the tax collector sells you that certificate, they put you in the county records and you have the first lien position. That means you're ahead of the mortgage. You now own the government's position, which is the tax lien on that property. All right, so this certificate has to be paid. If you don't get paid, you will actually get the property. But let's go back and let's learn about what the profits on these are. Now, I'm not going to cover every state in the union because we'd never get done, but I'm going to cover the general idea so that you get it, all right? So let's start out in Arizona. Now, in Arizona, if you bought a certificate today and the people didn't pay you all year, then at the end of the year, they owe you whatever you paid. So let's say you paid $1,000. So now they owe you $1,000 plus 16%. Now you might be saying, gee, Ted, that doesn't sound like very much to me. Well, of course it doesn't sound very much, but take $1,000 and put it in the bank and you're going to get maybe $100, right? So you're not going to do too well. All right, so here's Illinois. Now in Illinois, in the first 6 months, not the first year, the first 6 months, they pay you 18%, all right? And then the second 6 months, they pay you another 18%. So you could earn 36% buying tax certificates in Illinois. Now, I'm looking at you guys, and you guys are looking at me, and you're saying, well, I don't live in Illinois. Well, you don't have to. You're looking at me on a computer screen. What if I could teach you to sit on your rusty dusty, just like you're doing now, and we could buy these things going click, click, click? Well, I can show you how to do that. Now, when I started, we had to travel there, but I started way back when I had black hair. And nowadays, you can do it all online. Now, Georgia's my favorite state. Remember I said that. In Georgia, if you raise your hand, you buy the certificate, you're going to make a guaranteed 20% in one day. Any day from day 1 to day 365, you make 20% guaranteed. Folks, I don't make the rules. I'm just telling you what they are. 100% of people in America don't know they could be making 20% in Georgia or 25% in Texas and so on. They have no idea about this. All right, how about Iowa? In Iowa, you can make 2% for every month. Now, I want you to do a comparison. If you put money in a bank, you get it 1% a year. If you bought a tax certificate in Iowa, you get 2% a month. So multiply that times 12 months, and there it is, 24% on your money. Where are you going to get 24% on your money and it's safe and secure? On tax certificates, that's where you get that. All right, we'll do one more state, and it's Texas. All right, now in Texas, everybody asks me this. In Texas, if you buy a certificate today, it starts a clock going tick, 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 like on 60 minutes, right? And the clock can only go out for 180 days, all right? So anytime they come in and pay during that 180 days, they have to give you back all your money. Now, what did I say? I said, going to give back all your money plus 25%. Any day, one day to day 180. After day 180, they just give you a deed and you take over the property. Folks, it doesn't get any better than tax certificate. If you're a senior citizen, you're watching me, you got a little gray hair and stuff like I do, perfect investment. All right, now if you remember, I said Georgia was my favorite state. And I'm going to tell you why it's my favorite state. So look at the screen. You can see Georgia pays me 20% any day from day 1 to day 365. Now, on day 365, I have to make a decision, and so does the property owner. If they're not going to pay me, I could actually say, well, I'm going to take your property away. But if you're my client, I say, don't take the property. I say, don't do that. Let it go over to day 366. Because on day 366, now you're into year number 2. That certificate no longer pays 20%. It now pays, woohoo, take a look at that. 30% on your money. You tell me where you're going to go make 30% on your money without a gun and it going to the bank. It's not going to happen. 30%, and it's a safe, secure investment. All right, so let's go back and review and see what we're learning here. We're learning that every property has a tax. It's usually about 1%. Now, in places like New York and California, it's a little higher than that. But 1% tax, it's always owed to the government. The government's got a problem. They need the money. So they issue a tax certificate. You and I can buy them. So now they get the money they need. Or if they don't get the money, they issue a tax defaulted deed, and they're going to sell that property. And when they sell them very close to back taxes with no mortgage. Now think about that. The government's selling real estate property, back taxes with no mortgage. How good a deal is that? Well, we're going to learn how good a deal it is. And the more you're going to learn tonight, the better you're going to like this system. All right, so let's continue on. All right, now this is the most important slide I could show you all night. It says the government gives you the right to get all your money. Now, folks, if you start a business, do you have the right to get all your money back in that business if it doesn't do well? No way. If you go out and buy a stock, do you have the right to get your money back, or a mutual fund or anything? No, you don't get any rights like that. But with this investment, the government gives you the right to get paid. And if you don't get paid, you get the property without a mortgage. Now, I can see a few of you looking at me. So raise your hand and wave like that if you'd like to own a property without a mortgage. Go ahead, wave at me. Just wave. I can see you there. Every one of you would like to do that, if you're still awake anyway. All right, so I got a few people here. A few people have dozed off already. Oh my goodness, we're only 20 minutes in here. All right, so the government does all this. So this is a great investment. Now, you can earn all the way up to 36% interest on a tax certificate. Now, I started out years and years ago. When I started out, we used to go to Michigan I loved going to Michigan. Why? Because in Michigan, we could get 50% on a tax certificate. Now they changed it and they made it better. So I'll tell you that when we get to the end, but you'll get it. We used to make 50% in Michigan. It's even better now. Okay, so I hope you guys are getting it. So now we get this foundational material. See, that's what I've been giving you now. So they get the basics of these tax certificates. Now, once you understand this investment, then you say, oh my goodness, I want to do this. Everybody wants it. You can start for $50, 500, 5,000, whatever you're not. Now, why is the government selling these certificates? You see, if you own property, you get a tax bill. It's probably about as long as your arm. You get this long tax bill, right? And it's got all these things on the mosquito district, and it's got on and on. But the real meat of the tax certificate is right here in front of you. You see, property taxes pay for the police, pay for the firefighters, pay for the hospitals for the people who can't afford it, pay to fix the roads. More importantly, they pay for the library and the schools. You could not have schools, no schools, without property tax. So they have to do something about it. So if someone, Joe doesn't over here, or Ted doesn't pay his taxes, right away they issue a certificate and someone else can buy that certificate and get the taxes paid, because the government needs money to run the county government. So that's just kind of normal. So you guys kind of get the idea. All right, now why haven't you heard about this investment? This investment has been around for 200 years. Everything I'll teach you in the hour or so that we're together is 200 years old. 200 years old. I didn't invent it. I did not invent it. I just studied it so I could bring the message to you so you can get out and start making it. This has been around for 200 years. So why hasn't your broker told you? Why hasn't your attorney told you? Why hasn't the financial planner told you? There's one simple reason: because they only get paid on commissions. All those people get paid on a commission. For example, if you ask your attorney, they'll tell you about it, but they'll turn the meter on first because they have to make money. There's no money to be made in tax certificates except for you and I buying them and getting paid. So this is a great investment, been around for decades. The people learn how to do it. They keep doing it. Once you start, you won't stop. I'll guarantee you. Once you start, you'll just keep right on going. So let's learn a little bit about making some money with some tax lien certificates, okay? Now, this guy's name is Rocco. Rocco's 62, 63 years old. He wants to buy safe, secure investments. Now, that's what you guys want, because you're afraid you're going to lose your assets. I know you're afraid you're going to lose your assets. All right, well, he was the same way. So he wanted to buy tax certificates. So I taught him how to do it, and he headed over and he bought tax certificates, as you're going to see now. Now, really look at the picture. Don't just glance at it. Look at it. You see the properties in the background. There's houses. So look on the screen. It says 2 houses. Then over his right shoulder, you can see they're building some construction back there. All right, so there's a lot of lots that are being, their taxes weren't being paid. So Rocco went over there and he paid the taxes. All right, now when he paid the taxes, does that mean he has to go collect the rents? Does that mean he has to cut the lawn? Does that mean he has to clean it up? Does that mean he has to fix it? No, he doesn't do anything. He just raises his hand like I'm doing now, buys a piece of paper, gets a piece of paper, goes home and sits on his rusty dusty, goes home and sits. It's a passive investment. What kind of investment? A passive investment. So let's see how Rocco did.
I bought tax certificates, people that did not pay their taxes. I paid their taxes. I paid around $6,900, just shy of $7,000. I got 18% of my money. I just got redeemed in December, and I got $1,890 back, which is 18% on your money. Where in the economy of today with the banks and the mutual fund are you going to get 18% of your money? It's not going to happen.
Listen to that, 18% on his money. So he's making 18 times what he get at the bank. Doesn't have to fix the property up, doesn't have to paint it, clean it, do anything. He just sits on his rusty dusty. Buy as many as you want. You raise your hand, they give you the certificate, you sit on your rusty dusty. That's all there is to it. All right, so quick review. Every property has a tax. It's usually about 1%. It's owed to the local government, as you can see. If the government doesn't get paid, they either issue a tax lien certificate or they confiscate the property and issue a tax defaulted. All right, now, how did I get into this? Well, I get into this because people are calling me, how do I do this? They want solutions. So what I'm going to do, and the rest of the time we're together, I'm going to give you solutions. So listen to the solution, try to grasp it and embrace it, because if you'll take it and embrace these solutions that I give you, you will be successful too. Now, the first thing that people call me about that they're always worried about is they need cash flow. So there are 2 major things that people that come on these seminars want. One is cash flow, because they get issues. They need more of it. Well, I can tell you right now, when you're involved in tax lien certificates, you're going to invest and you're going to get cash flow, because every time one of those things pays off, you're going to get paid. So that's number one. Number two, I don't know what your job is now, but for God's sake, don't quit it. Just keep the job going, but let's get you some growth financially. And so this is a way to grow financially and not have to take a lot of risk, because you invest with the government, you get a check back from the government, nice checks, okay? So you need to learn. So stay with me now. We're going to learn a predictable, certain, and secure investment. Now, this is a safe haven kind of investment. These tax certificates have been around for 200 years. You can do them in half of the states of the United States, and I'll even show you people doing it online before we finish. So I hope you're getting it and you're getting a lot of good stuff. Okay, now this is the safest and most lucrative investment. Now, how can I say that? So read with me the little bullets I put on there. You invest with the government. You don't give me any money. You don't give a broker any money. All right, so you invest with the government and your profit checks come back to them. The interest rates are guaranteed. Now, the stock market goes like this, goes up and down. Interest rates sometimes go up and down. Not going to happen here. Whatever your certificate says, the interest rate, that's the one you're going to get. So when I say it's a safe haven, that's exactly what I mean. All right, so you guys now get the routine. Every property has a tax, always owed to the local government. If they don't get paid, they're sure going to go about issuing a tax lien certificate. All right, now I want you to open up your mind. Let's get some thought process here that we're not going to try to make nickels and dimes. I don't teach this business so that you just make $5,000 or $10,000, because people don't get excited about that. I want you to start thinking about making $25,000, $50,000, $100,000. So while you're looking at me and looking at the slide, just gently close your eyes for just 10 seconds. And 10 seconds, and how would it feel if you made $75,000 in this next year? Well, I know how you'd feel. You'll feel pretty darn good. So I'm going to show you the step-by-step process of how people make big money, how people make incremental money. I'm going to show you both ways of doing it. So just imagine for a second that you can get a property at auction for 6 cents on the dollar without a mortgage. You can't even believe such a thing. You'd just like to own any property without a mortgage. What if you could get one for 6 cents on the dollar? Well, in this business, those kind of things happen. They happen regularly, not every day, but they happen. All right, so this young couple, they live in Phoenix, Arizona. What they wanted to do is they got 3 kids they're raising. They only want safe, secure investments because they've got a lot of bills to pay, because you know they're bringing up 3 kids and all. So they like tax lien certificates. So I told them, look, they're safe and they're secure. As a matter of fact, when you buy a tax certificate, if you don't get paid, look what's happening here. If the property owner doesn't pay, can you see those keys coming right over into your hand? Well, that's what will happen if they don't pay on a tax certificate. So sure enough, this couple bought a tax certificate for $11,000. All right, now, where did they buy it? They bought it in Phoenix, Arizona, and the rates there, they got the maximum rate was 16% on the tax certificate. So they thought that was pretty good. So read the bottom of the slide. They knew if they invested today and it stayed outstanding for a whole year, instead of making $100 at the bank on their investment, they would make $1,500. Well, that was starting to sound pretty good to them. So they bought a certificate. Now, ladies, I know there's a lot of ladies on the call. Ladies, I know you wouldn't marry the guy without looking at him. And same for you guys. You're not going to marry the girl unless you see her. So don't buy a tax certificate unless you've seen it. Let me say it again. Don't buy it unless you've seen it. So sure enough, before they invested, they went out and the tax certificate was on a beautiful condo right on the water. And look at the value. Now, if you remember, they only invested $11,000. So they bought the certificate, they took it home, they put it on the desk, they set on their rusty dusty, and guess what happened? The homeowner never paid. The homeowner never paid the tax certificate. Now, I don't know what happened to the homeowner, but the law says if you don't get paid, you're going to get the property. The judge awarded them the property. Yes, awarded them $11,000 is what they, so they didn't sell it right away. They rented it out for about a year. They got all their money back. Then they decided, well, maybe we should do something else. So let's see what happened.
It's a lot easier than you think. It's not so scary once you know, okay, you can just ask these questions. And we turned to Ted, we turned to all his education, we turned to the coaching staff to get the questions we have answered because they're experts.
This particular property was a very nice property, and in our opinion, nice enough to actually live in. We were in it total for $11,000.
Both of those. And we rented that at $1,225 for 15 months.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So we collected all the money back from our initial investment and more.
And more.
And then after holding it as a rental for some time, then we decided, okay, the property is appreciating so quickly.
Yeah.
Phoenix was really hot. So it was appreciating so quickly. We ended up selling the property, and the sales price was?
We had a contracted sales price of $184,000, and $169,000 hit our bank account.
Whoa, folks. They invested $11,000. They rented it for a year, got all their money back, and then they sold it for $184,000. Now, you tell me, how many deals like that would you have to do in your life to be happy? Wouldn't take you too many, would it? Look at that profit. Now, the average family makes about $50,000, $60,000 a year. They got enough to, for 2.5 years, the average paid. How would you feel? Just think about that yourself. You know, if you don't get involved, you never get to do it. You've got to get involved. So think about what they did. All right, now women love this. Why do women love this? They like this business because it's clean and it's neat. Now, I buy properties at auctions, and I'm going to teach you guys how to do that in the next few minutes. Now, people worry about that because they say, oh, they're going to have to fix them up. Well, 64% of my clients are women, because here's what I teach people. I say, buy it low and then sell it low. Buy it low and sell it low and get rid of it. I'm teaching you cash flow. I'm in the cash flow generation business. So you have to start thinking, would it be in your best interest to get in that kind of business? Well, if that's the case, how much do you want what you really want? How much do you want what you want? I want you to think about this, and then I'm going to start teaching you some all new things. So don't answer this question out loud. I can see in the room that most of you are studying pretty hard and paying attention, but there's someone else in the room, so don't start talking out loud. But answer this question to yourself. How much has what you've been doing up to now got you where you want to be financially? I don't know. If it has, you're probably not on this call. But if you're on this call, you probably need a little help. So doesn't matter what your answer is, pay close attention to the next few minutes while we're together, because this is going to show you how to change things in your life. If you're willing to leave some old ideas and traditional viewpoints in the past, and you're receptive, you are in for a treat in the next 30 minutes. Now, before I get to that, I know how many of you are on there and saying to yourself, wow, Ted, this sounds too good to be true. Well, I've been listening to that for 30 years. For 30 years, people have been saying that. So I'm now careful who I say it to, because it always sounds too good to be true. So a number of years ago, I was quite young. Okay, I had black hair. I was skinny. I was a lot skinnier than I am now. And I went to CBS and NBC and said, I want to make an infomercial and late at night tell people about tax lien certificates. And they said, well, wait a minute, tell us about it. So I told them about tax liens indeed, like I did you. I gave them the same foundation. They said, Ted, it sounds too good to be true. It just sounds too good to be true. I said, well, I really would like to teach people that. They said, well, you'll have to get an attorney to come here and tell people that, because no one's going to believe it. So that's exactly what I did. And I thought you guys would like to see this.
Ted, I have to tell you, when we heard about your system, the producers of this show said this sounds almost too good to be true. And they wanted to get an outside opinion from an attorney. So we contacted real estate expert, attorney, and the author of the New York Times bestseller, How Come That Idiot's Rich and I'm Not? Welcome now, Robert Sheeman. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Lynn, it's a pleasure to be here with you.
Now, Robert, Ted Thomas has been telling us about tax certificate investing and how it is a government-backed program and totally legal. And we wanted to verify with an outside legal and real estate expert like yourselves that what Ted is saying is true.
Well, it's not only for real, and it's not only absolutely true, but it's legal and it's statutory. It's not just out there as some investment. This is backed, approved, and written by state governments. This is how the governments collect their tax money when people don't pay their property taxes.
So is it safe to say that this is not a far-fetched get-rich-quick scheme and that tax certificates are a predictable, certain, and secure investment that is government-sponsored and backed up by property tax laws in each state?
That's right. They occur everywhere. Wherever there's a property tax to be collected, they're legal, they work, the returns can be absolutely fantastic, and this is all for real.
Robert, thank you so much for taking the time to join us today.
Folks, I hope this is making sense to you. So I'm going to kind of change gears now. And what I want to do is I want to show you exactly how to make money with these tax liens and tax deeds. And I think that's very important. So if you have a pencil, kind of reach over and grab that. So this business is very, very predictable, okay? Now, the slide you're looking at now is black and white. There's no gray on that slide. There's no gray in the law. The law is black and white. And the law is right in the middle of the slide. You get paid or you get the property without a mortgage. How good is that? Well, let's look to learn how to make some money. So a friend of mine lives in Phoenix. His name is Dave. He called me. He said, Ted, I just put $2,000 in the bank. So on your paper, I want you to write that down. He put $2,000 in the bank. So I said, well, what are you doing? He said, well, I put the money in the bank. I'm going to leave it there. It's a certificate. And every year I'm going to renew the certificate and I'm going to leave it there for 20 years. I said, wow. I said, what are you doing? He said, well, I'm 35 and I want to retire when I'm 55. So I'm going to put this $2,000 in the bank, and then that's going to be my retirement when I'm 55. And I said, well, okay. I said, how much is your $2,000 going to be worth? And he said, well, I don't know. And I said, well, let's figure it out. So I just took my telephone, the little calculator on your phone, and I put $2,000 in there. And I said, did you have an interest rate? And he said, yeah, it was 3 3/4. I said, no way, the banks are paying 1%. He said, no, the bank's paying me 3 3/4. So I did it. I put $2,000 in the calculator, and then I put 3 3/4, 3.75, and I figured out 1 year, and then I just reiterated it 19 more times. So I know it. So what's his 2,000 going to be worth in 20 years? That's what he really wants to know, and what I wanted to know. Well, it turned out it's worth a whopping $4,129. How good is your retirement going to be? It's not going to be very good. So he said, well, Ted, what should I do? And I said, I don't know. It's up to you. He said, well, you're the tax lien certificate guy. Can't that help me? I said, well, in Arizona, you could put the $2,000 into certificates. He said, well, how much they pay? I said, 16%. He said, well, how much would I have in the end of 30 years? So I said, well, I don't know. I'll figure it out. So I put 2,000 in, except I changed the interest rate from 3.75 to 16%. And then I figured out 1 year, and I did a bunch more years. I did 19 more years. And guess what? 16 times the 2,000 times the 20 years. Wow. Now he's going to have 30,000. All right, here's the choice. You can put your money in the bank if you want and have 4,000, or you could be buying those certificates. Which do you want? I don't know what you want, but here's what I do know. You're afraid the investment's going to break your heart. You're afraid you're going to lose your assets. Folks, this one won't let you down. You can't invest with me. You got to invest directly with the government. So what if we went to Iowa? Iowa paid 24%. So why don't we take the same $2,000 at 24% and figure out 1 year and then multiply that by 20 years, because he's just going to keep reinvesting it. So this is fourth grade math. 24% for 1 year. What would that be? Then keep reinvesting it for the next 20 years. Wow. So which do you want? You want $4,000? That's okay with me. I prefer to have the 120 by learning how to do tax defaulted properties and buying tax lien certificates. So you're kind of getting the idea. You could be changing your life with small amounts of money, but you have to take action and do something. You're going to have to get off your rusty dusty. If you don't get in the game, you can't make any money. Simple system. Every property has a tax. It's always owed to the local government. They're going to do one of two things. They're going to sell tax lien certificates, or they're going to sell tax defaulted property. I'll teach you how to do both of them. Here's a question to ask yourself. If you were to start all over again, would you keep doing what you're doing now? It's okay with me if you do, but let's read on the bottom of the screen. It says, there's no wrong answer, and that's true. Keep doing what you're doing. But some people are making a bundle, and they don't work hard. So switch gears with me now. We're going to go from tax lien certificates. Let's learn about those tax defaulted property, because this is where if you've got 2 drops of entrepreneurial, I'll get it out yet. I'm stumbling around here. Blood, if you got entrepreneurial blood in your system, this is a big money part of the business. So I don't know which part you want, but I'm going to show you both parts and then you can take your own choices, okay? All right, so I made some pretty big discoveries over the 30 years. Now I started out just like what you learned today with tax lien certificates. And then I started learning about these tax deeds and I said, wow, there's really some big money to be made. So let me show you how this works, okay? So first of all, I started with tax lien certificates. So I started by getting on the phone and I called Baltimore, Maryland, for example. And I got a woman on the phone there and I said, look, I want to buy some tax lien certificates. She said, oh, okay. She said, well, we sell those here in Baltimore. And I said, well, how much do they pay? And she said, a tax certificate in Baltimore pays 24%. I said, wow, that sounds good to me. I said, can I get a list? And she was real nice. She said, I'll send you a catalog. And she did. She sent me a catalog. The catalog had 9,000 tax certificates in it. Now, hold on, folks. I can't buy 9,000. You can't buy 9. So why don't you get all your friends? I'll get all my friends. We still can't buy all the ones in Baltimore. In Florida this year, they'll have 1 million certificates. There's enough for everybody. There's enough for everyone. You don't have to worry. They'll always have too many. All right, so tax certificates are available everywhere. Now, people don't believe that. And I knew they wouldn't. So I dialed the phone and I called Tampa, Florida. Now, Tampa, Florida is actually called Hillsborough County. And I called Hillsborough County. I got a woman on the phone. And I said, listen, I want to buy some tax lien certificates. And she said, okay, fine. I said, what do you pay in Florida? She said, 18%. She says, boy, that sounds good. Can you send me a list? She said, no, I can't send you a list. I said, well, how am I going to buy it if I don't have a list? She said, I can't send you the list. I said, well, what would I do? How would I buy them if I don't have a list? She said, you'll have to call the newspaper and they'll make you a list. I said, are you serious? She said, yes, I'm serious. I said, okay. I said, now tell me why you can't send it to me. She said, I can't send you the list because it's too big to send. I said, really? She said, yeah, it's too big to send. At that time, it had 40,000 certificates. Now, I know you guys don't believe this, so wait a second. I'm just bending down here below my desk, okay? You don't believe it, but you can read it for yourself. There's a Tampa newspaper, and I'm going to open it up. There is no pictures in this newspaper. It's just thousands and thousands of tax lien certificates. So when I tell you that there's millions of them, I'm not making a joke because there's a million of them just in the state of Florida that pay up to 18%. All right, but we're slowly changing from tax liens to learning about tax defaulted property. So we learned that the government, if they don't get paid, half the states sell tax liens, the other half sell tax deeds. So I picked up the phone and found out in New York, they sell tax defaulted property. That means the people don't pay, they go out and confiscate the property, and then they sell the property for back taxes with no mortgage. Let me say that again. They confiscate the property, and then they sell it. Now, you're saying that can't be. Well, it is. So here's the state of New York. So in preparation for the class, I'm just getting close to my desk here. In preparation for the class, I started calling the New York counties and saying, have you got properties for sale in the tax auctions? They said, sure we do. They got plenty of those for sale. So each one of these brochures represents a different county. So look at that county. It's right on the top there. It said 382 properties. I even show you pictures of it. I'm going to open up one of the brochures here so you can see it. Okay. All right. They put a picture and the price of the property and everything. And they do that in hundreds of those properties. Okay. You name a property in the state of New York is in. Now here's another one. That one says Sullivan County for last year. And here's the one for this year. Okay. So there it is. So there's thousands and thousands of these properties that are going to be sold. And they're going to start bid at just the back taxes. So here's that same one. So do it with me. It's Sullivan County. I can tell you right now, it's about an hour and a half from New York City. It says up here, it's going to take 2 days. Look on the left, it's in the circle. 2 days to conduct that auction. 2 long days. These properties are sold back taxes. And look at this, no mortgage on the property. Wow. So this is almost unbelievable, but it's happening. It's happening across America. And now the auctions are coming back. They had them closed down the past couple of months because of the COVID, but now they're coming back. So I sent this couple, I said, all right, go to New York and go to the auctions. They're going to tell you what happened. Now, this is the kind of thing that if you just sit there and get entertained, that was fine. But if you really want to learn something, you're going to write down what you hear this woman say. She's going to tell you what she did at the auction. She went through my class, then she went to the auction. Let's listen, but I would write down what she said. And if you write it down, I'll give you the biggest real estate lesson you ever had in your life. I promise you, the biggest real estate lesson you ever had in your life is coming up in the next minute.
I first met Ted last August through Dave Dubois' webinar, and we had decided that we really needed something more for our retirement. And when I saw tax deeds, I really knew that this was something that we could do and that would work for us.
The first time Joan brought this tax liens and deeds business to my attention, I thought it was just one of those other get-rich-quick schemes that we've seen so many of before. You know, they're always too good to be true until you actually investigate them, and then you know they are. This one here was different. Once you got into the auction part of it itself, the more we researched it, the more we found that it was viable. We
went to our first auction in June, 2 weeks ago, in Sullivan County, New York. And there were 500 properties up for auction, and we ended up buying 4 of them. The first one we got was a single-family home. It was valued at $70,000. We paid $25,000 for it. It has a tenant already in it. She's on renter's assistance, so the government is actually going to pay us $800 a month rent. The second property we bought was 27 acres of land on a beautiful side hill overlooking the river. Forested land. It's divided into 5 lots. It's valued at $175,000, and we paid $12,000 for it. Then we also bought 2 residential lots. They're both about 2 acres, and one we paid $1,000 for, one we paid $600 for. They're both valued at $20,000.
Without taking Ted's course, we'd never have learned how to do tax deeds and liens. We had heard about them before, but you know, it's very difficult to find the lists of properties that are available, and let alone trying to find which counties have sales on at what time and all that kind of stuff.
But Ted gives us all that information. It's very well laid out, and we're just excited about our future. This is going to give us all of our dreams and hopes fulfilled, because we do it together, and the earning potential is unlimited.
Retirement, here we come.
Folks, these are the kind of amazing things that happen. So what I'm going to do with you now is let's go through this with the analytics. This is absolutely amazing, and you'll really get it, okay? So the first property they bought, they said it was worth $70,000. Okay, who decided that? I didn't decide that. The tax collector did. All right, well, the tax collector is considered a trusted source. Now, are they always exactly right? No, they sometimes a little high, sometimes a little low, but people trust the tax collector, okay? All right, so they bought it for $25,000, but they had a tenant. So they were already going to get $10,000 a year in rent. Folks, $10,000 when you invest $25,000, well, I don't know if they want to sell that one. They got about a 30%, 35% return already. So that's pretty darn good. All right, so let's look at the second property. They said it was 27 acres divided into 5 separate properties. All right, that was pretty good. Look at the value, $175. Did I decide that? No, the tax collector said this is what it's worth, okay? Now that's a number I can advertise in the paper and say, tax assessed value $175. All right, now a purchase price is only $12,000. Now let's do the math on that. They paid 6 cents on the dollar. Now you look at me and I'll look at you at the same time. If you can buy for 6 cents on the dollar without a mortgage, could you make money? Hello, could you make money? Well, you can make a ton of money. But Ted, I don't know how to sell them. Well, here's a way to sell them. Let's make it easy. I've been doing this for 30 years and I do the same thing all the time. There's nothing secret about this strategy. I buy it low and I sell it low. Yes, I buy it low and I sell it low. Costco does that. Target does that. Walmart does that. They buy it low and they sell it low. Well, why can't we do the same thing? So why couldn't we make an ad and put it on Craigslist? What does it cost to sell on Craigslist? $0. Okay, what does it cost if you want to sell on eBay? A couple of $100. All right, so why don't we put an ad, auction bargain, must sell, tax assessed value, $175. but we're going to drop our price so that we can make real money. Now, if you remember, we paid $12,000. So let's get it down where we can sell it in 4 months, 4 weeks, 4 days. And so let's get it sold quickly by doing this. Folks, you tell me, would it be 4 days, 4 weeks, or 4 months before you sold it? And when you sold it, if you bought it for the $12,000 that we just learned they did, how does that look for the profit picture? So when I started, some people said, oh, I could never make this much money. On one deal, they're going to make that much money. Now, if you don't want to make that much money, let's just do the little deals that they talked about. There's lots of little deals that they put there, right? So they said they bought a lot for $1,000, but it was assessed for $20,000. Could you sell it for $5,000? Put it on Craigslist. $20,000 value, must sell for $4,900. You tell me how long it's going to take. 2 weeks, 2 months, I don't know, but it's not going to take long. Could you do that on a second one? They paid $600 for. This is what happens at tax defaulted auctions. These are real numbers. These are real people. They're doing it in many cases, going to the auction, and you can do it online. What if you just wanted to do it online? We can teach you to do it just online. So here's a guy, his name is Joe. He lives in British Columbia. Now, if you don't know Canada, that's the most western province in Canada, over by Vancouver and the Pacific Ocean. Come in, he said, I'm a broker. Can I do this online? I said, yeah. He said, can you teach me to buy in Florida online? I want to come to Florida when it gets cold here in Canada. I said, well, of course I can teach you online. So I did. Now, folks, we're not buying junk. We are not buying junk. We're buying good properties. So I want you to listen, and I want you to look at the pictures, and all the deals we do, we say, stay out of the ghetto, just buy good stuff. Listen to this guy. He made $40,000 in 40 days. Now, I don't know if you're going to get $40,000 in 40 days if you never did real estate, but this guy did it, and watch what he did.
My name is Joe Ricards. I live in Kelowna, BC. I do creative real estate in Canada. Have been doing that for 20 years. I've purchased about $200,000 worth of other real estate courses over the span of about 7 to 10 years, looking for the next big thing in real estate investing, looking for something better than I was doing in Canada. Well, TEDS is one of the only systems I would say, especially as a Canadian, that he was very upfront that, okay, if you're going to do this, you're going to need to do it down in the States, as opposed to the US gurus coming up to Canada and saying, oh yeah, this works up here too. I found that not to be the case. So it was refreshing to know that what I'm getting is what I'm getting with TED. From TED's course, then I participated in the Pinellas County auction online and bought a property at my second auction in Clearwater Beach, in actually an area called Island Estates, which is a very prestigious area. And net, it's about a 40K profit flip. So that was my first deal.
Folks, don't quit your job. This could be a new source of income. You could do this online. You could buy these online. You could resell them online. How would your family feel about that? You could be making deals. You could do just like Joe's doing. Every one of you could do that. All right. Now, I'm going to give you a game plan. If you get involved with what I'm teaching, I'm going to give you a game plan, okay? Now, if you can follow the game plan, which is step by step, you will be successful. Now, what I'm doing, if you've noticed, is I'm showing you people from all over the United States, from across the United States, and the world for that matter, because my clients are in Canada. I teach this in Singapore. I teach it in Sydney and Melbourne, Australia. I even teach it in Bangkok. I teach it in the United Kingdom. Why? Because I can show you how to do this online. How would your life change if you could start making some money online? So instead of going out and buying a big franchise or doing some business that you have to spend a whole bunch of money, what you really need is a laptop and a smartphone. And that's how we make money in this business. You don't have to have a staff of 25 or 30 people. All right, so open up your mind to the money that I talked about. I don't teach people how to make 5s and 10s. If you want to make $25, $50, and $100,000, I'm the guy to teach you that. Think about making that kind of profit over the next 9 to 12 months or 6 months even. I have people do it in 6. How would you feel if you made those kind of profits? Your whole darn life would change. Yeah, it would. Now, I told you earlier, I have a lot of female clients. 64% of my clients are female because I don't want them fixing property. I want them to buy it and resell it. But here's the other reason. They don't need a toolbox and you don't need a pickup truck. You just buy these things and resell them. And you resell them the way we teach you. You buy it low, you sell it low. Every other real estate course in the world said, buy it low and sell it high. Well, if you got 6 months or 6 years to wait to get the job done, great, go ahead and do that. I don't mind you doing that, but I buy it low and I sell it low and I make it happen quickly. So now I'm going to give you the secret to this business. You actually already know the secret, but no one's emphasized it and show you how to do it. This is not a secret. Folks, read with me. There's an old saying in real estate. You make your money when you buy, not when you sell. So if I can teach you what to buy and give you a game plan, a step-by-step process, like she's holding a map, if I give you the roadmap, you can buy for pennies. I can even give you a GPS to make the whole thing go a lot faster. And that's why, read the bottom of the slide with me. This is why I can make $100,000, because we're picking what we want to buy. We're not just doing anything and fighting the market. We're going to go to an auction and where they can do it online, and we're going to buy where we can make the money. And that's why we can make $25,000, $50,000, and $100,000, and we can do it on one deal. If you make $100,000, you don't have to do too many deals. All right, so people are shocked when they see my clients buying for 10 cents, 20 cents, 30 cents on the dollar with no mortgage. No mortgage. And we give you a process to do that. This is a process. That's what it is. It's an exact process. This is a business you can do from home. Now, I have people all over the United States doing this and outside the United States. This young woman lives in Costa Rica. We taught her how to do this. She works 5 to 10 focused hours a week. Listen to what I said. 5 to 10 focused hours a week. She's a mother. She's raising her family. Where does she buy? She buys all across the United States, anywhere she wants. This is a recent example she did in Los Angeles. She won a bid on a $200,000 property at $14,000 online. She never won. She did it all online. Let's hear what she says.
I came across Ted Thomas material sometime in July of last year, and it was just really good timing because we were just about at time looking for something with greater returns, something that will give us more time to spend with family and enjoy our family more, while being able to live the life we've always dreamed of. Because I attended Ted's 3-day workshop, I knew that LA has a 2-day auction. What happens is whatever they don't sell on the first day, they sell half price on the second day. And that is how we ended up with our lot. We paid $14,000 for a lot that was assessed, I believe, $210,000.
You more than doubled our money.
And move on to the next deal. Yes, yes. So we have 2 girls, almost 11 and 6 years old, and this new business will really give us more time to focus on our family, spend more time with our family, travel more. For instance, when we went to King County, we took the kids to Vancouver because that's where our family is, so they could visit grandma. At the same time, we spent time with them. So it was a bit of a family vacation / business trip, which is always nice. And being able now to work on this, not every day, 7-8 hours a day, but more kind of come and go basis, you have more free time to take family trips, to enjoy each other and make those memories that most people are just too busy, too stressed out to do when they simply, employed somewhere and they don't have time for themselves and their loved ones.
Yeah, you don't have to worry about the boss anymore. Folks, read this slide and read it slowly. 7 cents on the dollar with no mortgage. That's the law, and it's the law in all the counties of the United States. If you can buy for 7 cents on the dollar, you tell me, how much money do you want to make? You can buy as much as you want. You can make as much as you want. This business has been around for 200 years. The people that understand it and know how to do it, they do just fine. So if she can buy the property for $14,000, even if she sold it for $28,000, which you do in days, she doubled her money. Where else are you going to make that kind of? So a few deals like this really make a difference. Now, did she have to do a lot of commuting? No. Did she have to get dressed up and go on a train or a bus or whatever? No. She making great money? Well, you think about it. And where do you want to live? You can live anywhere you want because you can do the whole thing online. So in a few minutes, I'm going to tell you about a one-day, all-day event that I'm going to do, and I'm going to invite you guys to come to that event. So if you're learning a lot now, what would happen if we spent a whole day together? It's a one-day event. We start at 11 o'clock in the morning. We go till 6 o'clock at night. Now, if you want to do it online, I get it. A lot of people want to do it online. I'm going to show you people doing that. It makes it much easier if you want to do it that way because you don't have to do the travel and so on. I happen to like to do some of the travel because even though I buy online, I like to be at those auctions because then I can think I can do a little bit better than I can online. So this woman wanted to buy online. Now, here's where the leverage comes in. You have real leverage because you're buying at a tax defaulted auction. That means going in, you're going to have a 60, 70, or 80% discount. Now, if you can start out with an 80% discount, is that going to work for you? Well, of course it is. Now, this woman had plenty of money. She was having trouble investing the money. So people are attracted to this business because they have money. So there's always going to be plenty of money around. And we even show you how to get money if you want to learn how to do that. But the point is, she was having trouble. She had brokers work for her. She had financial planners. She had investment advisors. She called me and she said, can you show me how to do this online from Canada? Now, she also lived in Canada. I said, all right, I'll show you how to do it online. So she said, I want to do this sitting at my kitchen table. She did it exactly that way. Watch what happened.
My name's Deb Murphy, and I'm here in Kelowna, British Columbia. I had purchased my first property. I bought it for $24,000. It'll literally sell for $70,000. I'll probably list it around 75, 76, and it'll sell. I did it all online, by phone and by computer. Ted's material showed me that I can depend on the county records, what's online as far as property appraisers records, what's online as far as all the documentation around a property that I could depend on knowing 75% of what's going on with that property without even stepping foot on it. So there's just so much more available online, and that's why we can do it successfully now from Canada. Ted really fills out the full picture. He wants you to be successful.
Now, folks, let's do the analytics real quick because she rented the property rather than sell it. She didn't want to sell it. She said, I just want to get 3 or 4 of these properties and I get income from it. So she bought the thing for $24,000, and now she's got $10,000 a month in income. So that turned out to be about a 40% return on her money. Now, that's not a bad return on money on an investment. And then she could have an excuse to travel to that property to see it. So if she just keeps the property and just takes the cash flow, look at the bottom of the screen. It says $200,000 and should still own the property. So you have to decide, what do you want to do with it? But if you want bargains, this is the place to do it. So where does she do that? Well, you guys raise your hand if you'd like to do it online and wave at me. How many of you like to do that? Some of you wave at me. Well, Willie's waving anyway. Okay, I got some people still awake, right? Okay, all right. David, I didn't see you. Just came on. Hello, David. I didn't see you on my screen until now. You good? How you feeling? Wave at me. David, wave at me. David. He doesn't have his audio on. I'm waving at him, but he's not waving back to me. All right. Anyway. All right. So let me give you guys some things that you couldn't get anywhere else. Nobody else can give you what I'm about to give you right now. And this is really valuable. This is really valuable because if I give you this competitive advantage, you're going to see how the whole ball game changed for me and for all of my clients. Okay. Now that's a map of the United States, and all those little lines represent the 3,000 counties. So from my office, and I can make it so it's your office, I can access every county in the United States. That means I can access 100 million properties. Now think about what I just said. I can access and know the value and look at 100 million properties. So I know what's going on at that auction immediately. The rest of the world has no idea about that. So we have an interactive map that can get you to every one of those states. And I'm going to show it to you and demonstrate it to you here in the next minute or so. But you can access 100 million properties. That puts us way ahead of any other people that are involved in the tax lien and deed business, because now we can look up everything that we would ever want to know prior to even thinking about bidding. All right, so that means we can access the county by name, their address, their phone numbers, emails, websites. We know about that property. So what if we took you to Florida? There's all the counties. How would you know which one to buy in? Well, it'd be very easy because we can figure that out. So I have online research people that come with your training. They come with the training. The average person has no idea. So here's Georgia, and look at how many counties. How would you know which county to go to? You wouldn't, but you could find out all the counties that are having really good auctions where there was plenty of properties to buy just by doing what we just did. So you could do all that from your kitchen table. So there's over 3,000 counties and 1,400 municipalities. Now, I didn't know the guy was doing it, but he called me and he sent me this picture. Now, this guy is a preacher, and he became a student of mine because he works in the prison system up in the state of Georgia, and he teaches religion there. He teaches Islam and he teaches Christianity. And he said he wanted to buy at the auctions because he wanted to start making money. So he sent me this picture, and he said to me, Ted, this property's coming up for auction tomorrow. And I said, well, are you going to try and buy it? And he said, no, I'm not going to. I said, well, why not? He said, well, the price is too low. I don't believe it. Do you think it's legal? And I said, what is the price? And he gave me the price. And I said, boy, if you can buy that house for that, you're going to make a ton of money. He said, you sure it's legal? I'm not going to get in trouble. I said, no, just go there and buy it from the auctioneer. And so he did. And so this is the house he bought. Let's look at it a little closer. Okay, you can see it's got some mature trees there where they're growing fruit and so on. So he headed over to the auction, and here's what he paid for the property. No mortgage, livable rental, small house. So then he called me, he said, well, Ted, what should I do with it now? And I said, sell it, just get rid of it, find out what it's worth and sell it. He said, oh, Ted, I don't want to sell it, I want to keep it. I said, well, what are you going to do? He said, well, can I rent it? I said, well, of course you can rent it, just go ahead. He said, how much should I rent it for? And I said, I don't know, I'm in Florida, I don't know what to rent it. So he checked with the neighbors, and the neighbors said that, you know, the property had a value, it certainly had a value, but he should rent it for, get this, $700 a month. If you saw what he bought it for, he invested $300. Folks, you're going to invest $300 on your Thanksgiving dinner this year. This guy bought a house for that. Now, I don't know that you're going to get one, but I'm kind of showing you examples here of all the different things that happen at these tax auctions. So what happened? A local guy just got married, and as a wedding present, he got someone to pay his rent for a year. So he came in and said, I'll give you $6,000 a year for rent. So this guy rented the property to him. He just rented the property out to him. Look at his rates of return. Folks, I don't know how much money you're going to make, but if you don't get in the game, you're not going to be able to do this. So you're going to have to learn how to do it. So does that competitive advantage help you out a lot? We can do every single state in the county. Now I'm going to kind of finish up here with one of my last examples and then let you guys go and have your dinner. But I hope you're learning a lot. But this guy, if you follow in his footsteps, I'll guarantee you will be retired with plenty of money. So this guy decided he wanted to buy in the States. He wanted me to teach him how to do it online. So I taught him how to do it online. And where did he buy? He bought in Riverside, California. All right, you guys don't probably know where Riverside is, but look on the bottom of that California map. You see the big yellow thing? That's San Bernardino. He bought in the next county down from that. It's all red. Okay, he did the whole thing online. He just bought a residential lot. Now, I teach people to buy residential lot because there's no property on it. And that means you don't have to worry about termites, trash, people burn it down. Just start there and then resell it. So this property had a value, which he figured out just using the map. Okay, the value of the property was $229, but we're buying at auctions. See, the key to this business is being able to buy right at auctions. And until you can learn how to do that, which is a little challenge, but learn how to do that, folks, he paid 15 cents on the dollar. So what's Ted's system? It's buy it low and sell it low. So he called the broker and he said, I want to sell it and do it quickly. And he did just that. Sold it, made $20,000. Folks, $20,000 doesn't sound like much when we're talking about these big numbers, but here's the question to ask yourself. How much money did you make online last month? Well, he made $20,000. How did you do? So what should he do? Well, he's now found a business.
My name is Kelly Osmack, and I'm from Regina.
So let's listen and see what he has to say.
My name is Kelly Osmack, and I'm from Regina, Saskatchewan. I'm a Ted Thomas student. I had purchased a lot in Riverside County, at Riverside. I purchased it for $35,000, and after I got my title, I listed it. It was listed for a month, and I got a full cash offer of $55,000 US.
Not bad. So what should he do now? Should he just give it up? He didn't give it up. He said, Ted, teach me how to get money from investors. So I showed him how to get money from investors, and let's see what he did.
After that deal, I went to the Kitsap County in Washington and purchased a 5-acre parcel in Kingston, and I paid $131,000 for that property. It had a 1,300 square foot manufactured home and a barn on the property. Really nice property. I had it listed at $280,000, and I received a full price offer in 4 days.
All right, now think about what he said. He sold it in 4 days. Why? Because he used the system I said. He had a much higher appraisal. So what he did is he bought it low and he sold it low, but he did it in days. So now he has a system. And once you have a system that you can work all the time, then you can make money all the time. Well, he was already going to make over $150,000. I mean, that's a lot of money to make on one deal. So what did he do next? Well, he decided he would go ahead and buy another one. So here's what he did. All right.
I went back to Riverside because it's a great place. I love Riverside for whatever reason. In May, I bought another property. It's in Desert Hot Springs. It's another 5-acre parcel. It's awesome. Yeah, I bought this property.
Whoa, look at that. Look at that.
For $177,000. 5 acres of land. On Zillow, they had it listed in 2011 for $798,000. There's this house, there's another 900 square foot nanny mother-in-law house, there's outbuildings. It's a beautiful property. I had a realtor go look at it, and he said, yeah, it's in, like, from the exterior, looks like it's in decent shape, depending what the inside is. He said it could range for anywhere from 500 to 800. I'll probably clear 100,000 US on that deal. I've never left my basement office. Ever.
That's a pretty good laugh, don't you think, folks? But he did sell it, and he made himself $100,000. Now, some people are saying, Ted, how could you leave all that money on the table? It's very easy. If you buy them low, sell them low, keep going, because there's plenty of auction. This is a huge business of abundance. There's so much abundance. It's just staggering how many properties. Look at that property he bought it at a tax auction. Folks, this is happening every day. There's over 5,000 tax auctions every single year. Now, look, I can't teach you everything I know in 1 hour, so here's what I'm going to suggest you do. I'm going to do a 1-day virtual workshop. Now, the regular price is $9.95. If you want to get involved in this, it's $47. 47, same as filling up your gas tank, folks. If you're one of the investors that really wants to do that, I'll have experts there just teaching about tax lien certificates so that you can make predictable, certain, secure investment. Remember, you give the money to the government, you get checks back from the government. Now, I'm not bragging, but these are all properties I bought for less than 35 cents on the dollar. With no mortgage. With no mortgage, I bought these properties, and I did these all online. Every property you're going to see here, I bought online, and I did less than 30 cents on the dollar. That's right. Look at that, with no mortgage on it. All right, those properties are available. I like to buy big ones. Why? Because if I'm going to work at it, I want to make a nice profit, and that's what I'm going to teach you to do. We're going to teach you to make $25,000, $50,000, or $100,000. It's happening every single day. Now, I know you have heard people talk about stuff like this. For us to buy for 20 and 30 cents on the dollar is not unusual at all. Now, whatever you do, don't go out bragging to your friends that you're going to get 90% discounts. Because you even tell them you're going to buy for 20 cents on the dollar, they're not going to believe you. I told you I have everything that's documented so you can see it. You saw this couple earlier today. They bought and had a 94% discount. You saw this young lady buying from Costa Rica, 93% discount. Folks, if you come to the event, I'll show you a guy that bought in Los Angeles. He bought $1 million worth of property. I said $1 million for 8.5 cents on the dollar. I'll show you the whole complete case study. Can't do it today because we don't have enough time. So in my last minute, I'll tell you about this particular state, which is dramatic for people making money. On the left side are properties in a subdivision. On the right side, you see outlined properties that weren't finished in a subdivision. The guy just walked away, or he died, or something happened. I don't know what happened. But the left side was the nice subdivision. The right side, the properties didn't get sold. So the tax collector sold those lots for $250,000. to $800 each. The guy that bought them is this guy here. Using credit cards, he bought 60 properties in the last 6 years. There's no excuse for you not to get involved. We can teach you how to do this, but you've got to get in the game if you're going to do something. I showed you Texas, 25% in 2 days. I showed you Georgia, 360 days make 30%. This guy bought in California for 6 cents on the dollar. I can show you these people.
All right, so you guys just spent an hour getting the tips and the nuggets from Ted Thomas. Imagine what he can do in 6 hours. So guys, check out the link below, and Ted is going to fill you up with a wealth of information. Once again, thanks a lot, Ted.
You're welcome. Good to see you.